Hello viewers, and appreciate you watching. Today in this video I'm gonna do a walk around of a couple of our trucks, and the first one we got here is our 2016 KW. But the most important part of this video is 911. As a lot of y'all know, on the side of a lot of my records I have the Never Forget 343 911 2001. That's when the World Trade Center was hit by aircraft and collapsed. We lost 343 firemen that day, and just like to pay tribute to them. But figured no better place to start than at where I started my fire career, at a volunteer station called DAB Station 19. That's the old station over here, and this is the new station. But I started this the fire career way back. I became a full-time fireman in 1988, and still currently there. But as a lot of y'all know, a lot of us never forget where we were when the plane hit the World Trade Center. I was with the now fire chief, and he and I were going to pick up a truck. We turned around and went back to headquarters station, and I'll never forget, a fireman asked me, he said, I was a lieutenant at that time, he said, "Lieutenant, are them guys going in there?" And I never really answered him other than they got a job they got to do, and they're probably going to go do it. And I left it at that. But something told me those guys were going in and do what they had to do to save what they could, and I'm sure they saved a lot of people. But back to this truck. It's a 2016 KW. It's got the Cummins 565 horsepower, 18 speed, with the Vulcan V100. I've gotten good service out of these V100s. I have two of them, and they're my only 50 tons I've had, but they have been a true workhorse for us. But this truck, you know, it does a lot of towing, it does a lot of recoveries. Just about anything you ask it to do, it can do it pretty good. But hopefully I'm gonna do some walk-arounds of our other trucks that have the 343 on them. I'm not gonna go open every compartment because there's just chain straps and all kind of stuff like that in there. But you know, the main thing of this video is to pay tribute to all the, not just firemen, everyone that lost their life in the attack on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and all the other stuff that happened that day. There'll be a special event at the end of the video. We're having a special memorial service at our headquarters station, and we're going to have some flyovers with some F-16s, and hopefully I can get some good footage and get it edited and get it out that same day. We'll be back with you on the next truck. Okay viewers, today we're going to go over the 06 Peterbilt. It's a Peterbilt 379. It's got the Vulcan V100 on the rear, made by Miller Industries. It's got the twin turbo Caterpillar motor. It only has 475 horsepower. Got an 18 speed. But as you can see on the on both sides of the truck, you get Never Forget 343. Hey guys. Hey, Chief, what's going on? Not much. Like I said, we're at our Sumter Fire Department training ground today. Also on this unit we have you know, Never Forget the Charleston 9, the ones that died in the Sofa fire back in June 18th of 07. But we have a crew down here due to COVID right now. We split our stations up into smaller groups, but this is our training facility. As you see on the ladder truck there, we got Never Forget 343 on that one also. That's our training tower, our burn building. We got a flammable liquids prop in the back. pretty much that's the truck we call the V100. Like I say, it's the 06 Peterbilt. And this truck actually came from California. We got it from Tow Industries out there. And Billy over at American Record Sales helped us get it, and he actually drove it all the way back from California for us. Once again, we've gotten good service out of these V100 bodies on the rear. But we'll get you another video here in a little bit, and hopefully have it all put together for September the 11th. Okay, viewers, the truck we have here is our 2018 Freightliner M2 business class. It's got a 300 horsepower Cummins with an Allison automatic transmission. It's got the Miller LCG bed, which is rated at 12,000 pounds. It's got a Ramsey winch, 8,000 pounds. On both sides, it's got in the ditch toolboxes with the extensions. Has the wheel lift on the back with the L arms and all the attachments to go with it. But this is the truck we call our M2. As you can see on the side, never forget 343. This is the first Freightliner I bought. Had the Internationals for a while, but had that Max Force motor and been very pleased with this truck. It's got close to 300,000 miles on it now. This is what we call our Stadium Road Fire Station. We run a four-man crew out of here. We have an engine, and we keep our spare ladder out here, and a brush truck. Okay, viewers, what we have here is our 2020 Freightliner M2 business class. It's got a Cummins motor, Allison transmission. It's the Miller Century LCG bed, capacity of 12,000 pounds. Ramsey 8,000 pound winch, in the ditch toolboxes, wheel lift on the rear. On the door here we got never forget 343. We're in front of our headquarters main station. At this station we run a engine, a ladder, and a heavy rescue. But as you know in the other video, I said the ladder was running out of our training ground. Okay, viewers, give you a little tour of our memorial. What we have here is a piece of the I-beam that actually came out the World Trade Center, and we have our two little replicas of the World Trade Center. As you know, we had 343 firemen, and a lot of other lives were lost that day. Here we have all the names of the firemen that lost their lives that day. I'll walk over here and show you another little corner we got. That's kind of a memorial site. It's you know, one bench over here is for our armed service personnel who fought and died for our country, and the other one is in memory of the Charleston 9, the 9 firefighters who lost their lives in the Sumter fire, and the 3 firemen that we've lost. These are the names of the get out the sun here. The names of the 9 firemen that were lost in Charleston. And there's our bench in memory of the Charleston 9, memory of the U.S. Armed Forces. And while we're at the headquarters station, I'm gonna walk in and show you our steamer. building here. This is our 1908 LaFrance steam engine. It was pulled by horses at one time, but the city actually bought it new, and I think they paid like $20,000 for it back in 1908. But it's been in Sumter. We used to carry it to a couple of shows, but now it's just sit on display. And some other old memorabilia that we have. Some old fire gear and hip boots. Now we wear bunker pants. This is the old alarm box. Okay, viewers, well, hopefully I can finish up this video tomorrow and get it out to y'all on 9/11. Thank y'all for watching.
Today's ceremony will start shortly. Please find your seats. There's a few seats that are standing if you'd like to have a seat, and the ones that are open, even though they're marked, those are now available. So those that need to be seated, you're welcome to go ahead and take those seats. You're going to make sure all of your electronic devices are on silence. And today's ceremony will start shortly with a flyover from the 169th Fighter Wing, McIntyre Air National Guard. Just briefly as well, the aircraft will be coming from our east, which is going to be coming over the top of the fire department. So that's the area that it's going to be coming from if you'd like to be able to start watching that area.
There they are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but that's the sound of freedom right there. Before me, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joey Duggan, and I will be your MC for today's events. I would like to thank you for attending the 2021 Sumter Air Force Base 9/11 Memorial Ceremony. Today we'll be paying respects to those who have lost their lives in the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. Thank you to McIntyre Air National Guard 169th Fighter Wing for conducting today's flyover. Please stand for the presentation of the colors, the singing of the national anthem by the Sumter Law Enforcement Ensemble, and the invocation by Chaplain Anadokin from Shaw Air Force Base, Chaplain Corps. Present the colors.
Please, if you would, our Father, who lives in heaven, we hallow your name this morning. On this day, we hold the line of those claimed by the brutal attack, which was a result of the unbelievable but undeniable evil plan of our enemy, who found its way into our great country that leads us to the revenge of the Holy. Today, after 20 years of repulsive events, we are here as a country, defenders, families, city, leaders who tell the story, share the memories, and show support for one another and acknowledge the dark side of life. But Lord, in the midst of the terrible event of 9/11, we are thankful that you empower us to fight back, to strengthen our weak hand and soul to defend our freedom and preserve our future. You gave us hope in the confused state of ours to retain the ultimate intention of our country's founding fathers. Therefore, I beseech you, loving God, to prevent us from the future evil. Give us the ability to live without horror. Strengthen us to always live ready. Comfort and encourage the family of our fallen heroes. Empower the hands of our defenders. Preserve the prosperity of our land and continue to bless all the citizens of the United States of America. So we can boldly say, in God alone we trust. All this I pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Honor Guard, Chaplain Antidote, and Sumter Law Enforcement of Sumter. I would like to begin today by introducing our official party and today's guest speakers. First, I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Sumter, the Honorable David Merchant. The Chairman of Sumter County Council, the Honorable James T. McCain, and his guest, Ms. Lisa. And the commander of the 20th Spider Wing, Colonel Lawrence Sullivan. We would also like to welcome all of our distinguished guests, first responders, military members, families, and friends in attendance today. On September 11th, 2001, 4 commercial airliners were hijacked over U.S. soil, 2 of which crashed into the north and south towers of New York City. One at the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C., and the last in an open field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, en route to the Capitol building. 2,977 souls were lost that day. Of the almost 3,000 victims, 343 were firefighters from the FDNY. 71 police officers from the NYPD, and 2 paramedics also from the FDNY who gave the ultimate sacrifice. They will never be forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to introduce our first guest speaker, Colonel Lawrence Sullivan.
Good morning. It's a privilege to be here. We're thinking back to 20 years ago. I know a lot of the people in the crowd have very distinct, sharp memories of what happened that day. It was a beautiful day, just like this, and we're here to honor the almost 3,000 people that lost their lives that day. Specifically honor the service of our first responders, the fire and the police department. that ran to the sound of the guns and charged into those towers and saved their fellow Americans. We'll also reflect on the uncertainty that they had. Remember watching one tower get hit, wondering what was happening, watching a second get hit, and then hearing about the Pentagon later, and then the aircraft in Pennsylvania. And that was just that one day. We were uncertain if attacks would continue later that day, in the following weeks and months or years. And for 20 years, nothing happened here in the United States. And that's no small feat. And that has grown from the contributions made by this community and the people of Shaw. And from the first day of 9/11, after 9/11, till today, we've had soldiers and airmen deployed continuously in keeping this country safe. We've launched armed fighters, just like the ones that flew over, in defense of the homeland, continuously, even now. We've sent soldiers and airmen forward into combat. And many people from the base and in this community have given their lives in defense of their country since then. And that contribution continues even today. And as the events in Afghanistan over the last few weeks played out, and our activities there drew to a close after 20 years, the airlift that evacuated the civilians and our remaining military was coordinated here from Shaw. The soldiers that were deployed to hold that last bit of ground prior to our departure were commanded and controlled here out of Shaw. The drone sorties that were flown there as overwatch to protect our final movements were flown here out of Shaw. And the sacrifices and the contributions continue. Right now we have approximately 500 airmen from Shaw deployed all over the world to continue to defend our nation. We're going to send another 500 or 600 out the door here in the coming months, and that legacy of service will continue. And it's not just a contribution from the base, but it's a contribution of this community. The base exists as a part of this community. It's our home. And the activities of everyone here are responsible for the continued security of our country, and every day from 9/11 to today. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Sullivan. And now I'd like to introduce our second guest speaker, the Honorable Jim McCain.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to speak with you today on this solemn occasion. We're here to remember. We're here to remember and pay homage to the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. Far too many first responders perished that awful day 20 years ago. Brave people whose final act on this earth was saving the lives of others. We lost a sense of comfort that our enemies could never reach our homeland. When the Twin Towers fell in New York City, and the Pentagon was attacked in Washington, D.C., and when United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a Pennsylvania field, our country was reeling. Those attacks left a deep wound in our country. And then something happened. You started seeing American flags on lawns and cars and old glory pins on suits and dresses. People slowed down a bit. We talked to each other. A lot of people decided to rethink their priorities in the aftermath, to decide what was important and to realize that no matter our background, we're all Americans. We learned about people like Todd Beamer, who led a revolt against the hijackers on United Flight 93. And we know he was heard saying, "Let's roll," as he and others tried to take the cockpit of that airplane. But before those fateful words, Beamer was talking to the phone operator named Lisa Jefferson. After Beamer and Jefferson recited the Lord's Prayer and the 23rd Psalm, he told her this: "If I don't make it, please call my family and let them know how much I love them." In the aftermath of September 11, 2001, we learned about Inspector Anthony Infante from the Port Authority. Survivor said one of Bonte's last acts in the North Tower stairwell was calming people down and telling them there was a clear exit to the street. We learned about Shirley Allen, director of the Children's World Learning Center, which was located about 30 yards from the Pentagon. Ms. Allen and 36 of her co-workers evacuated 148 children, which included babies in cribs. Rescuers relocated her group 5 times. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, she demanded loudly that security forces accompany the children as they moved. Her main fear was losing a child. Shirley's husband was a naval officer whose Pentagon office was in the air of Flight 77. 3 hours after her emergency evacuation, the forensic relocation of 148 children, she broke down in tears. Her husband was safe, the children were safe. We heard stories like this in the aftermath of 9/11, a lot of stories. Firefighters and police officers and airline stewardesses and child care workers who showed all of us what the true American spirit really is all about. Even as the smoke rose over the Hudson River from where the Twin Towers stood, even as our commander-in-chief stood in the rubble and rallied us, the scars left in the wake of the attacks began to heal. We raised our first responders up. We thanked them. We hugged them. Members of our military walking through airports got standing ovations. 20 years later, I'm still filled with awe and gratitude for our airmen and soldiers, our paramedics and EMTs, the sheriff office deputies, and our police officers, and all the support staff. It takes a rare kind of person to rush toward danger, to run into a home or business that is fully engulfed in flames, to run into a dangerous situation to minimize the threat to the public, to put on the uniform and swear your allegiance to our Constitution and our country, and to protect it and serve it selflessly. That's what Todd Bowman did, and Anthony Infante, and Shirley Allen. We will remember their names and the names of many others we lost that day. When you have a scar, you remember how you got it, and you remember how it lived. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. McCain. At this time, I will now honor the memory of those who were lost on September 11, 2001. With the laying of the 2 wreaths, one wreath will be laid by the Emergency Responders Honor Guard, a Royal Air Force coalition, partners from the United Kingdom deployed here in support of the Air Force's Central Operations, will be placing the 2nd wreath. The Shaw Air Force Base Fire Department will ring the last alarm. The history of the last alarm began over 200 years ago. As firefighters began their core duty, it was the bell that signaled the beginning of each day's shift. Throughout that day and night, each alarm was sounded by the bell, which summons these brave souls to fight fire and to place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow citizens. And when the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled to all the completion of that call. When a firefighter has died in the line of duty, paying the supreme sacrifice, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a comrade's passing. It is customary that the last alarm be sounded for our brothers and sisters who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and having selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow man, their task completed, their duties well done, and to signify they are returning home. Honor Guard, Wing Commander Rutherford, would you please come forward for the laying of the memorial wreaths? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and join in rendering a salute and ringing of the last alarm in a moment of silence to remember and reflect on the sacrifices made by our fallen brothers and sisters.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And now I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor David Merchant to the podium to provide our closing remarks.
Wow. It's powerful. As we close this 9/11 memorial service, it's hard not to be moved by what we saw. The air power, the laying of wreaths, the honoring those that long. It's hard not to be reminded of many brave Americans that 20 years ago today gave the ultimate sacrifices. The first responders that woke up one morning, grabbed their lunchbox, headed to the station, clocked in for whatever the shift may hold, not knowing that shift would change their life forever and be like none they'd ever had, prior or since. But it didn't matter. They were there to serve. Their job was to go and protect, no matter what the call was. So when the bell went off, the alarm sounded over the radio, they got in the patrol cars, the fire engines, their ambulances, and headed to the scene. They ran into a building, massive skyscrapers. Unbelievable, as you can see, how tall it is. Unbelievable alarm that they had to respond to. They rushed into those buildings, not knowing what they were going to encounter. Buildings that had 2 airliners crash into them, something that's they'd never experienced before. There again, it didn't matter. People needed help. So they rushed in, not knowing the structural integrity of the building, not knowing how long it may last. They went in to help. So that's what you guys do. First responder. For me, it was one of those moments. We've all got them. You know, through life, you got those few moments that you know exactly, you'll never forget exactly who you were when it happened. You know, 1986 was Will's 5th grade science class.